Merry Christmas. And I've decided to make my own Christmas cards this year, so I'm hoping you will join me for the ride. This is one of my favourite parts of the process, just sketching out, drawing. I've been drawing ever since I was an amoeba, I don't know, doing it all my life. And you can see here I toyed around with a few different designs, but the one I went with is, I think, the very first one that I actually drew. That's quite often the way I find that I just get an idea in my head and I'll play around with some different ideas, but my first instinct is generally what I go with. What that says about me as an artist, as a person, I don't know. But for these Christmas cards I wanted something very traditional and based on a lot of the folklore and old folk hymns, I suppose, around Christmas. Lots of ye olde English fun stuff like holly, ivy, mistletoe, and what looks like a pineapple. I promise that will be a pine cone presently. But I'm just speeding up a little bit here because I don't think you need to see me draw all of this in live real time. We've got quite a bit of ground to cover. So what I'm doing here is just working out like roughly where the big blocks of colour are going to be. Working from live reference is always the best way to go, I find. Obviously, Google image search is your friend. I use it all the time, but if you have anything live there to hand that you can work from, that's just a far more pleasing experience, I feel, as an artist. And I can't kid myself that I can draw a perfect pine cone from memory without an actual pine cone there in front of me. It wasn't going to happen. So I'm just thinking about the process as I'm sketching everything out. And I always do this with linocut, particularly because this will be a reduction print. And it's the most complex reduction print that I've done to date. I'm thinking all the time about how I'm actually going to carve these details. If I make details that are too intricate, my tools, even though I have some very fine tools, are going to struggle. But now that I'm happy with my initial sketch, I need to do a trace. This will just help me to refine all of those sketchy lines, get everything nice and sharp, and this ultimately will end up being transferred onto the block that I'm going to carve. So this is just a chance to get everything nice and tight. This is tracing paper that I'm using, I should say, and I'm using a 2B pencil lead. It's one of my favourite pencils to use for drawing because it's kind of semi-soft, and it's great for this because it will transfer really well to the block when we get to that stage in a little bit, but it won't be horribly smudgy. So yeah, highly recommend. It is so tempting to just pack a whole load of detail into particularly this pine cone, and also the mistletoe above and all the lovely viney bits coming off the ivy. But I am trying to be restrained with this. I need to make, I think, about 25 Christmas cards to go out to all family and friends. Yay, I know and love that many people, yay. But yeah, my initial mission was to make this just something nice and simple, very accessible. Oh, just correcting my mistakes there. Yes, I make mistakes too. Oh my god. But yeah, this is the time to make mistakes, definitely. And spoiler alert, I am gonna make some absolute belters as we go through this. You haven't seen anything yet. It's gonna get very messy. I'm just going to try and mitigate any mistakes by getting my colour reference in order. So I'm broadly going from light to dark and cold to warm. It doesn't always work out that way depending on the kind of print that you're doing. but the black outlines, the darkest, heaviest colours will always be the last layer that we want to print. So now that I know what I want to be doing and how I'm going to be doing it, we just need to flip the transfer paper over. So now the surface I was drawing on is flat to the surface of the linocut. So you can see it's reversed, and I'm just going over with the back of a spoon and rubbing vigorously over every tiny little detail. And the block that I'm using is a soft cut. I think it's sort of a vinyl sort of texture. It works quite well. It's nice and easy to work with, and you can see here I'm just going over everything with a biro to just bring out all of those details again, because as I start to carve the block, I want to retain all of that detail as much as possible. The transfers works really well, I have to say, but it will not stay fresh for very long, so you always want to just go in afterwards with an indelible pen and just bring out all the line work you want to keep. And also, this is like my last chance to correct any little mistakes. I can finagle things a little bit. And whenever I'm drawing, I will flip the image, look at it in a mirror, reverse it, and just do anything to try and change the perspective, because that's when all those little niggly issues suddenly pop. So it's good practice anyway, and linocut, by virtue of the process, does that anyway. And there we have it. We are ready to carve. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.